My name is Walid Qorontfleh, and I'm an Arab American. I'm glad to be here talking to you today. We are excited because of the events that has taken place. Let me introduce myself to you. I got educated here in the US as an Arab American, so I hold a master's degree in chemistry, biochemistry from Illinois State University. A doctorate, a PhD in microbiology from the University of Louisville School of Medicine. And as I was a scientist and began my career, I realized the need to understand the business side of science. So I went back to school and got my MBA from Penn State University. I've been the founder of 3 biotechnology companies, and more recently a co-founder of a boutique consulting firm called Q3CG. This firm has done significant amount of work actually in the MENA region, North Africa and the Middle East, along the lines of developing biotechnology and entrepreneurs in the area of healthcare and biotechnology. So as I mentioned that I'm a co-founder of a consulting firm called Q3CG, where we have done business and work in the MENA region, both in the Middle East and North Africa. During a period, a significant amount of work was actually in that region, over 70%. It was in the area both of healthcare and biotechnology. So we've done a range of activities there in terms of assessing technology, assessing patents, developing plans for startup companies, assisting entrepreneurs that with their business plan and with their ideas, to develop their ideas and how they can move it from concept into reality by having to found the company and eventually into commercialization. The neat thing about the Middle East and North Africa is really the entrepreneurial spirit is in the majority of the people. So people naturally gravitate towards starting a business, gravitate naturally towards being independent, and I think the right pieces are there. The infrastructure in terms of education, access to US and Europe for higher education, and the ability then to address some of the problems and the issues in the Middle East. And there are a range of them, you know, in terms of diseases like cancer or diseases of the heart, cardiovascular, or actually nutrition and obesity and diabetes. You know, those are really endemic in the region. So I would like to commend you that you have that spirit of starting your business, and you have this spirit of launching your idea and developing it in order to start a business. Some of the key aspects and the challenges that you will face, as we have done some work there in the Middle East, we recognize that appropriate infrastructure, particularly on the science side, sometimes is lacking. Resources are somewhat limited to do the appropriate experiments. Reagents maybe are very expensive. So that's an issue. Availability of capital, while some potentially we can solve this problem, but I think what's not there is actually government policies that can assist and can really be able to be a facilitator in order to develop really and assist entrepreneurs. But this is coming as we can see changes in the different region. We also recognize that you face unique challenges, unlike some of the entrepreneurs that are in North America, for example, in terms of access to information, access to markets and market studies, and knowledge about products and services and competition. So we've worked with entrepreneurs in terms of starting their business. And I think where they face a challenge is developing appropriate business plan and appropriate market studies. It seems that's always lacking, and investors kind of shy away from plans that are not really crisp. So that's an area that you probably need to focus on. And with the presence of the internet and hopefully you are developing relationships and collaborations, so those become really an asset for you. An additional asset is that there are a variety of programs through the EU and USAID that are really geared towards entrepreneurs, that are really geared towards starting businesses, and we encourage you to take advantage of these and leverage them, because by establishing those aspects of relationships, opportunities open. An example of that, like we witnessed today, is Dr. Suad Ruwais. She has come from Tunisia. She's an entrepreneur. She started her company. She has this idea about developing a kit for cancer to solve really a local challenge that's faced in Tunisia. She has come here. She spent 3-4 months. She gave today her pitch or her presentation for a panel to be evaluated both from a scientific standpoint of view and from an investment opportunity. So I encourage you actually to expand your circle of influence and expand your network, both locally and particularly in the EU. If you are in Morocco or North Africa, Europe is very close proximity, and that can potentially open doors to you. So from a marketing standpoint of view, you need to understand the product that you are developing or the service that you are developing, what differentiates it in the market from other products or services, what's unique about it, why other people want to buy it, is it priced right, and what sort of plan or path you want to take in order to really share this type of product and services with others. So these are really critical elements. So your access to a proper information and having that knowledge is really a critical piece, because that's a really important piece in a business plan when you talk about the marketing the product and marketing the services, and who are your customers and how you're gonna get to them. So that's really an important piece. Another important piece in a business plan that investors really look at is really the management team, the experience, how credible are the financials, how long it's gonna, how much money you want, how long it's gonna take you to get to market, what's the time frame for a payback. So you need to think about all these pieces. So really a good critical business plan gives its pitch in an executive summary, which is a 1-page, and then it talks about the technology or the product or services that you are developing, why it's different, who are the competition, who's going to be in the market as well that's going to be competing against your product and service, and the other pieces in terms of sort of the management and the financials. So those are really key components. So we had a project in Morocco that has really two pieces to it, which is exploring really establishing a biotech incubator in order to have a place where entrepreneurs can come and share their experience and help each other. This is a critical component because as an entrepreneur, you need access to resources and access to knowledge. All resources or knowledge doesn't reside in you, and the resources need to be open so that you are able to take it. So that's very important, that there are other entrepreneurs that are going through the same phase and the same type of challenges. So that was one aspect of the study that we have done in order to establish that. The other aspect of that is really looking at upgrading the education and the experience of the graduates, because in the North Africa and the Middle East, mostly, particularly in the area of bio sort of technology, or people are just driven by the thought of academia. They don't realize that there is another avenue available to them by capitalizing on their idea, and that they can commoditize that. So we have done things that pertains to establishing a process to move an idea to become a patent, and then to be able to establish a company around that product as service and commercialize it. So what we have done is basically establish lots of the business processes, because that's a new experience in North Africa and the Middle East. So, which is, you can think of it similar to where biotechnology was in the US over 40 years ago, right? When the first biotech company got started in the early 70s, which is Genentech, you know? Where somebody has identified a technology in the university, took it out and established a company around it. So that's the kind of things that people now in the Middle East and North Africa are going through, is realizing and recognizing that there is an avenue outside academia. So our project was really to also educate the people, particularly young entrepreneurs, that there is an avenue outside academia. So those types of discussions are very important.